Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining me in this video. We are going over the top 24 quarterbacks for those of you in two QB and Superflex leagues, whichever one should be a part of, by the way. We're also going to go over the top 12 kickers, and we're going to cover a couple notable omissions in each section. If you guys have any start-sit questions, please drop them down below. I would love to engage and help you out. If you are new to the channel, enjoying the content, please like and subscribe. Your support means everything to me on my road to my first 100 subscribers. With all of that out of the way, let's get right into it. This is week 11's quarterback rankings. Starting off at number 1, Josh Allen gets the Indianapolis Colts at home. With my sanity intact after a big response for Allen and the Bills, we can get back to business. Allen has 5 finishes in the top 5 over his last 7 games, and the Colts have allowed more passing touchdowns to anyone. He is going for 300 plus and 3 touchdowns against Indy. On to 2, and it's Lamar Jackson on the road to face the Bears. While Jackson looked absolutely atrocious in the first 3 quarters against Miami, he still finished as the QB 10. He now gets a bottom 10 team in both yards per pass attempt and in passing touchdowns allowed in the Bears, so Jackson is in for a big day. Dak Prescott is the last player in my top 3. He goes on the road to face the Saints. He was able to get both himself and Dallas right in a monster win over Atlanta last week. He now has 2 finishes in the top 3 in his last 3 games, and I bet on this ranking he makes it 3 of 4. In that same game, I have Patrick Mahomes up next. And I mean, at least I had him as a quarterback 1 last week. What a performance to show the world you're not broken, Patrick. The noise was getting loud. Both these teams could easily put up 30 plus, and I think that they do. I'm not sure what the highest fantasy quarterback matchup ever was, but this one feels like it could certainly challenge it. At 5, it's Tom Brady at home against the Giants. And while Brady's receivers certainly didn't help him out last week, do not think that he doesn't take that type of performance personally. The Giants are bottom 10 in the NFL in allowing touchdown passes with 16, and Brady leads the league with 27. We move on to number 6. It's Aaron Rodgers on the road against my Vikings. Now, I don't think that Rodgers really has to throw the ball much against Minnesota, but I don't think that means that he will not. Without Aaron Jones back there, I think they lean a little bit more towards a pass-happy script, and he lights up the Vikings. We move on now to number 7. That is Kyler Murray on the road to face the Seahawks. This is the game that Arizona was resting Kyler up to make sure that he was healthy for. The Seahawks allow the 3rd fewest touchdowns through the air, so hopefully Murray's ankle is a little bit better and he can get one on the ground. Jalen Hurts is in at 8. He gets the Saints at home. I think that Hurts has a tough time moving the ball against this top 10 defense. However, when you look at his fantasy points at the end of the game, you're not going to be able to tell. The Saints allow the 8th most points per pass attempt in the league, so that helps him out a little bit after he got hot with Devonta Smith. Next up is Joe Burrow on the road to face Las Vegas. After seeing Vegas get absolutely torched and an extra week off to prep, I believe the Bengals come out hot and Burrow gets right after laying an egg against the Browns. Vegas has allowed the 8th most passing touchdowns on the year as well. The last player in my top 10 is Justin Herbert. He gets the Pittsburgh Steelers at home. Now, Herbert did not look great last week against my Vikings, I concede that. However, he still did manage to finish as QB 14. This is another difficult matchup, but he will do enough to keep LA and his owners' hopes in it. We move on to Kirk Cousins. He is my 11th ranked quarterback at home against Green Bay. Captain Kirk has finished in the top 10 in 2 straight games. He has 5 touchdowns and no picks in those games. He is also quarterback 10 on the season. Yeah, I guess I'll go with my head instead of my heart on this ranking. My last QB1 is Ryan Tannehill. He gets the Texans at home. With more being asked of him, Tannehill has held it down. He has 2 QB1 finishes in his last 3 games. Houston also allows the 5th most yards per passing attempt, and with the rushing game still trying to find its footing, he's going to make it 3 of 4. Next up at 13, it's Russell Wilson at home against Arizona. And we'll just say that Russell had more rust than we were expecting last week against Green Bay. Now, I'm not sure that finger is 100% yet, but with an extra week off to rest it up, I think that he improves mightily in front of the 12s. Skyrocketing all the way up to number 14, it is Mac Jones on the road against the Falcons. They allow over 21 points a game to quarterbacks, and Jones is coming off his first 3-touchdown game in the pros. He is going to continue to improve, and Atlanta is not the team that's going to slow that momentum. Justin Fields is all the way up at number 15. He gets the Ravens at home. I am aggressively ranking Fields coming out of a bye and back-to-back top 10 finishes. He showed a lot against the Steelers, and I believe that he keeps it rolling in Soldier Field in a top 10 matchup. Derek Carr is next up. He gets Cincinnati at home. I believe that there are going to be a ton of points scored in this game for both teams who both need this game for their playoff hopes. Carr is third in the league in passing, and he is top 12 in both touchdowns and completion percentage. Tua Tagovailoa gets the Jets on the road, and he is my 17th ranked player. Tua finished as QB 15 on the week while playing under a complete half against the Ravens. This offense looks much better and different with him at the helm, and he's got upside against the Jets. We move on to 18, and it is Carson Wentz. He goes on the road to face the Bills. Wentz is going to have to do a lot more this week than he did against Jacksonville, which scares me a little bit. However, last week was only his second outside the top 20 all year, so I think he finds a way. Moving on to 19, it is Cam Newton. He is at home against Washington. Newton showed that he's still got something in the tank, scoring 2 touchdowns in his first 2 plays in an epic return to Carolina. Washington looked like a capable defense last week, but they still allow the most points per game to quarterbacks on the season. Jimmy Garoppolo is my 20th ranked player. He goes on the road to face the Jaguars. San Francisco is going to continue to allow Jimmy to just manage the game and nothing more. However, that's worked out for them just fine recently. With both Debo and Kittle making plays all over the field, he is going to continue to be solid. At 21, it is Taylor Heineke. He gets that feisty Panthers defense on the road. Last week, Mr. Bud Lighty had his 5th QB1 finish on the year. Now, the Panthers only allow 15 points a game to quarterbacks, but he is not going to fall completely flat in this one. Traveling on the road to face the Bucs, it's Daniel Jones here next at 22. The Bucs just gave Taylor Heineke a QB1 finish, and Jones has had an extra week and gets Saquon returning to give him some backup. It may not be pretty, but you could certainly do worse. We move on to Tyrod Taylor on the road against Tennessee. He is my 23rd ranked player. The Titans have allowed 18 passing touchdowns this year, which is tied for 5th most in the entire NFL. Taylor threw 3 picks early on last week, but he settled in afterwards. He is going to be a decent play here and have plenty of garbage points. At 24, and the last quarterback ranked is Baker Mayfield. He gets the Lions at home. Baker looks like he has escaped serious injury, and he is on track to start. Detroit allows more yards per pass attempt than anybody. As we move to my notable omissions, I just have a couple. The first is Matt Ryan at home against New England. I couple too much volatility with Bill Belichick, and I say no thank you. Trevor Siemian is the last player at quarterback we'll discuss on the road against Philly. I think this is another big game for Ingram, and the fairy tale streak ends here for Siemian. With quarterbacks out of the way, now let's get into my Week 11 kickers. Starting off, at number 1, it is Tyler Bass. He gets Indianapolis at home. At 2, it is Nick Folk traveling to Atlanta. And the last player in my top 3 is Justin Tucker on the road to face Chicago. The Bears allow the 4th most points to kickers. At 4, we have Randy Bullock at home against Houston, and they give up over 8 points a game to the position, and Tennessee is going to move the ball with ease in this one. Rounding out the top 5, it's Matt Prater on the road against Seattle. In at 6, we have Mason Crosby. He travels to Minnesota, and the Vikings allow the 5th most points to kickers. Green Bay is going to score plenty. At 7, it is Evan McPherson. He gets the Vegas Raiders on the road. Up at 8, we have Daniel Carlson. Same game against those Bengals. Greg Zuerlein is next. He faces the Chiefs on the road. And the last player in my top 10, same game, is Harrison Butker against Dallas. Now there's going to be so many points in this game that each kicker could get double digits. As we move to 11, I have Ryan Suckup. He gets the Giants at home. And the last kicker before my omissions is Chris Boswell. He goes on the road to face the Chargers. Najee is going to put Pittsburgh in range plenty. For my omissions, I have Greg Joseph. He gets Green Bay. And this is all about no team allowing fewer points per game to kickers than the Pack. Jason Sanders is my last option. He gets the Jets on the road. And while they don't scare me, Sanders' consistency does. That's all I got for you guys. Thank you so much for joining me for the video. If you enjoyed the content, please like and subscribe. It means the world to me as I battle for my first 100 subscribers. If you have any start or sit questions, drop them down below. Reach out to me on Sleeper, whatever works for you. I would love to be able to help you out. This is Relentless Press. I'm your host, Abraham Opatz, and we'll see you next time.